Wondering where your money goes every month? Are you scared to look at your bank account? Then this video is for you. I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. I taught myself about personal finance and investing when I was 17. And if I can do it, you can too. And now I'm getting a master's degree in economics and finance, and I'm here to tell you all the secrets. So today, I'm gonna teach you how to get on top of your finances, because let's be honest, hot girls are financially educated, they're not scared to look at their bank account, and they are working towards and achieving their financial goals. Let's break it down into 7 easy steps to help you overcome any hurdles and start owning your financial future. First things first, we just need to rip the band-aid off, okay? We need to do a financial audit. You need to know what money is coming in and where it's going to. Oftentimes, we regard our money and our general financials with the idea of, if I don't see the problem is not there. But that just leads you to not have any control of your money or any idea where it's going to. And as a result, you cannot do anything better. Just take a look at it and write it down. I would do this in an Excel sheet, honestly. Yes, I am that type of person, but otherwise you can just do it in Notion or just write it down in a notebook. Your choice. It is absolutely necessary to do this step. You just need to rip off the band-aid. Yes, it might hurt, you might not want to know it, but you need to do it. Otherwise, we cannot continue. Take a look at all of your accounts and write down how much money you have in each of them, how much debt you have, and also how much money is coming in or you are expecting to come in. Second step is to get educated. This video will cover all of the basics, but if you really want to get a good grasp on your money and also handle the more emotional side of money, like beliefs about money, beliefs about your financial future, you should definitely check out books, videos, podcasts that talk about finances. It's really important to understand how finances work, how things like an interest rate work. Why does an interest rate change? You need to get a general idea of money stuff in order to not be scared and intimidated by it anymore. Knowledge is power, and honestly, finance is so easy. You don't have to go into the models, you don't have to go into financial theory and complicated mathematical models. You just need to understand the things you are faced with day to day. The more you know, the less intimidating it becomes and the better of a grasp you will have on your finances. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Want to earn more money? A great way to do that is by learning a high-value skill. Things like video editing, content creation, or web design. These skills are in high demand and they open doors to so many opportunities. And you can learn all that and so much more with Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, passions, or side hustle to the next level. There's so much to learn, from AI and animation to music production, marketing, and self-development. I've personally been loving the content creation classes on Skillshare. They've really helped me step up my YouTube game. And let's be honest, it is easy to improve when you're learning from the best. I've taken classes from Marques Brownlee on how to build a successful YouTube channel, and from Ali Abdal on productivity for creators. And those classes have made a huge difference in how I approach my videos. For me, it was really inspiring to see Marques talk about how he plans, writes, and films his YouTube videos. And hearing him talk about how to keep your passion for content creation alive over a long period of time, while still coming up with fresh and exciting ideas, has really motivated me. So if you're ready to learn a new skill and you want to support my channel, join Skillshare now. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So don't miss out and start learning today. Now we're getting our hands dirty. It is time to actually do stuff with the money. First of all, we need to build an emergency fund. I know it's not nice to think about this, but even if you have a stable job, you never know. And I feel like we need to be aware that things may not be as stable as we think they are. It's always good to be prepared. You need to have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses saved up that you will put somewhere where you can access it easily. In case something happens, this will be the money that you fall back on. This will give you some peace of mind that doesn't matter what happens, even if all else fails, your business fails, you are fired, or you're forced to quit your job, you have something to fall back on. And you can then use that time, those 3 to 6 months, to find a different job, to start another business. It just gives you a safety net, so you will never have to worry about ensuring your existence. I wouldn't start investing money into things, especially not risky things, if I don't have an emergency fund. I would also add to this point, there are so many different opinions about debt. Some people say all debt is bad, some people say some debt is good, some is bad. But if you have any bad debt, for instance, credit card debt, you should definitely try to pay that off first, maybe even before building an emergency fund, because usually the interest rates on credit cards are super high. We're talking about 20 to 30%. That is insane. So that should definitely be paid off first, because that is just eating into your finances. Step number 4, pay yourself first. This is how you either make money or you lose all of your money every single month. Every single time you get paid, that money should first go towards you and your financial future. Before you even go shopping, before you even look at fancy new stuff that you could buy, pay yourself first. Set aside a certain percentage for savings or investments, even if it's just a little bit, just 5%. Put that aside in order to grow your wealth. It's so easy to get your income and to start spending. I mean, there are a lot of expenses. You need to pay your bills, you need to pay your rent, you need to buy food, you need to buy clothes. But in the end, you might realize all of your money is gone by the end of the month. You have nothing. You had the intention of saving, but oh well, with what money? That's why you pay yourself first. First and foremost, you should take care of your absolute necessities, and that is your savings and also your living expenses, like rent, bills, groceries. Then you can think about what you're gonna do with the money that is left over. But if you don't take care of your future self, who will? Where do your savings go to? A high yield saving account. Different banks offer different interest rates. The higher the interest rate, the better. The difference between regular savings account and high yield savings accounts is that a high yield saving account gives you interest on your money, whereas a normal checking account usually gives you either nothing or something like 0.5%, which is very little. Getting an interest rate means that your money is actually working for you without you having to do anything. It's just accumulating and accumulating. Every month you get a little bit of interest, and that adds up. It is called compound interest. Basically, the more interest you get, the more interest you get. If you have money set aside, why not let it grow? It also really makes sense to shop around a little bit to inform yourself what bank offers the best interest. Banks also sometimes have a rule that you cannot take the money out for 1 year. So the deposit is always 1 year long, like exactly 365 days. And if you try to take it out earlier, you don't get any of the interest that you gained so far. So this is something doable if you know you're not gonna need the money. But honestly, I prefer having access to the money. Also, read the fine print and see if they charge anything like a bank fee or like a yearly account fee, things like that. Also, little pro tip, every region usually has a central bank. In Europe, this would be the European Central Bank. You can easily Google what interest the European Central Bank offers. You can think about the central bank as the bank of banks. Basically, your bank could take your money, give you 1% interest on that, but then deposit it with the European Central Bank, which gives them, let's say, 3%. If you do your research, you probably can find a bank that offers a very similar interest rate to the central bank. And that is obviously a way better deal. So, the more you know. Let's get to the spicy stuff and talk about investing. If you're starting out, investing can feel really scary, but it is not. Obviously, you need to be aware that your money is at risk. So my advice would be to not put money that you absolutely need in order to survive into the stock market. It is highly unlikely that you're going to lose all of your money if you invest smartly, but there's always a little risk, so be smart with your investments. If you're just getting started, ETFs are your best friend. An ETF is a collection of stocks. So instead of buying one share from Apple and one share from Microsoft, you could be buying an ETF that contains both of those, as well as other 50 companies, and that could be listed as a technology ETF or like an information technology ETF. Having multiple companies in one basket gives you instant diversification, which is good because it lowers your risk. If one company fails, you're not gonna lose all of your money because that one company only makes up a small percentage of what you've invested into. There are also ETFs that cover certain geographical markets, like an emerging markets ETF, or ETFs that cover certain industries, like we said, for instance, technology industry, or healthcare. And then of course you have ETFs like the S&P 500, which takes the biggest 500 companies and puts them into one basket. Let me be honest, when I started out, I didn't even know where I could buy ETFs. ETFs can be bought from your usual broker. So if you have an app that you use in order to invest into stocks, there should also be a place where you can find ETFs, and you will find a list of all of the ETFs that are traded with that app. Investing into ETFs is low risk and low effort because you can just set up an automatic transfer, and every month you can invest a certain amount of money into, for instance, the S&P 500, and then you just let it sit there and do its thing. The S&P 500 has a historical good return of around 10, which is obviously so much higher than whatever you would get from having your money just sit in a bank. Once you're more comfortable, you can also start investing in individual stocks. This is where you can make higher returns, but the risk is also higher. There's always this up and downside. Higher potential of returns usually means higher risk. The question is always, what are you comfortable with? Don't jump onto the hype train, do your research. Just because a bunch of people are talking about how much money they made with one certain stock doesn't mean that if you invest in it, it will continue going up. A lot of times when people are talking about a stock, it might already be too late. Look into the company's fundamentals, earnings, long-term potential, look at news. There are always new trends, and if you can spot a company before they make it big, there is a potential to earn a lot of money. And I feel like no one talks about it, but use your unfair advantage. If you have knowledge in a certain sector, use that. Just because everyone else is investing in the big companies, again, like Apple, Microsoft, things like that, doesn't mean you have to go for the same and invest according to your beliefs. Of course, some companies do things that are morally questionable. Are you willing to cross your morals for the potential of making money? The stock market can be a roller coaster. You will see that stocks can rise and fall more than ETFs do. Over time, the entire market does trend upwards, and you can usually see that people who invest in stocks might make higher returns if they invest in the right ones. This is only the case if the majority of your stocks perform well and if that good performance can overshadow a potential loss. If you invest into multiple companies and one company goes bankrupt, that might not be very dramatic. If you invest into one and that one goes bankrupt, well, but usually if you're invested into multiple companies and ETFs, losing on one company is usually not that dramatic because gains on the other stocks and ETFs will make up for that. So be aware of the risks, use your head when you're investing, and do not, under any circumstances, invest money you're not willing to lose. It's time to take control of your finances and live your best life. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.